Hi everybody, my name is Trippe. I'm right here in Birmingham, Alabama, and we're currently going through the 10 Commandments of Wholesaling. You can go anywhere online and get a lot of videos about wholesaling, a lot of information on wholesaling. I'm not really giving anything new or groundbreaking, but I am giving some specific thoughts about wholesaling right here in Birmingham. It is a little bit different of a market. It's more of a cash flow market. A lot of your buyers are going to be a little bit different than your typical buyers throughout the nation. So I wanted to give some insight about Birmingham in particular. We've gone through the first 6, and we're going to do number 7 today. We've talked about networking, which is the very, very first step really in any kind of real estate investing, probably in any kind of business, period. You need to get out there and network and get to know people. You got to go know the numbers and understand exactly what you're trying to buy, how much you're trying to buy it for, and obviously getting it for less than that so you can make some money as a wholesaler. You got to develop a cash buyers list. I showed you in the third part of this series how to go out and get cash buyers right here in Birmingham, how to specifically target those. So definitely check out that video if you missed it. Marketing, I could talk forever about marketing. I think the video was only 12 minutes. I probably could have talked for 2 hours. Just gave you some just specific nuggets to go out and do. Answer the phone's the number one mistake in this business. People just don't even answer the phone. They spend the money and spend the time doing the marketing. They don't even answer the phone. Make offers. You got to make multiple offers per day. We talked about that in video 6. Now we're in step 7, negotiating. Okay, so you've done all this and you've made the offer, and maybe your offer wasn't accepted. And maybe for whatever reason they want a little bit more. You want to get it for a little bit less. Negotiating is key in this business. I actually have a lot to say about this. I kind of grew up negotiating, so to speak. Did a lot of stuff in my youth, trading baseball cards, scalping tickets to baseball games and concerts and all this stuff. And so I kind of grew up trying to learn how to negotiate. So I want to kind of go through, I've got some specific steps. I've taught this in the past, and I'm just going to go through these really quickly. These are kind of some my rules to negotiating, okay? Just you can keep this in mind as you're talking to sellers. First and foremost, I'll get to it in a second. The person who names their price first typically loses in any negotiation, okay? Especially when you're trying to get things for a certain price. Negotiate, just naming your price first is you're gonna have a big L next to your name. You're gonna lose that negotiation. So the way I typically like to do, I like to get a number out of them first. And then if we're close on the phone, then I'll set up the appointment and I'll go look at it. I never commit to a number. And so I'll not only get them to name a number first, I actually get them to bid against their own number before I ever name a number at all. So I've gotten X number out of them. Hopefully they bid it against themselves not only once, but hopefully twice. So I've gotten them from say 100,000 to 90 to 80 before I've even said a word. So that's how I typically like to do it. Not every seller is going to be that way, but most actually are. So keep that in mind. The person that names their price first typically loses. The person with the money should be in control. Okay? So if you're the buyer or you're acting as the buyer, you have the money. You should stay in control of the negotiation, okay? And we're going to talk about walking away here in a second. But you've got the money. It's up to you whether you want to buy it or not. Or you have the perceived money. It's up to you whether you want to buy it or not. So keep that in mind. Once you've countered with your number, zip your lip. That's the hardest thing to do. One of the best stories I have, I don't really have time to tell the whole story, but I essentially just said my number and just did not say another word. I just said 20,000. It's the hardest silence in the world, trust me. And 30 seconds of silence can seem like an eternity. You gotta shut your mouth, because if they're thinking about it, they're probably gonna do it. And when you start to open up your mouth and try to sell your number or explain your number, it's gonna carry less weight. There's so much power in silence after you've said your number. I heard somebody say this a long time ago. If it doesn't make you hurt inside, then you probably didn't offer low enough. If it's easy to say the number, it's probably not a low enough offer. It's gotta hurt. It's gotta cause some pain. It's gotta be like, 20,000. It's just gotta be that way. It just has to be that way, or you probably didn't offer low enough. So keep that in mind as well. And then this is really important, this next one. You gotta be willing to walk away, all right? And so typically the person, I talked about it earlier, with the person with the money should be in control, and that is true. But really, if the one who is willing to walk away and make the other person call your bluff, that's the person that's going to win. Because we don't have a whole lot of competition when we're going to go out. Like, we don't go out on an appointment and there's 5 other wholesalers there. That's very rare. The lists we use and some stuff that we do, we don't have a whole lot of competition. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but the vast majority of the deals we go, or the appointments we go on, we're not getting other wholesalers lined up with a bunch of offers. So, and a lot of times the sellers don't even know they have options. They don't know where to go necessarily. They found us through a postcard or through certain marketing that we do. And so they may only know that you exist, or they don't want to go through the hassle of trying to get someone else out there. Because like I said earlier, it's amazing to me how many people don't even answer their phone, and that's the dead truth. And so they might have called 3 or 4 people, and you're the only one that answered, and you're the only one that showed up. They don't think they're ever going to get anybody else on the phone, so they want to do the deal with you, and you're close in price, but you're the one that's willing to walk away, and they may not be, and that's going to be to your advantage. You got to be willing to walk away. If you're dead set and you put your feet in the sand, say this is the number, sort of take it or leave it, so to speak. And we're talking about cash offers now. Okay, we're talking about wholesaling, cash offers, not some creative stuff. We definitely offer creative stuff, but just the cash offer, you got to put your feet in the sand, and this is the number. And so that's really important. And then the last one I'll say is follow up. This is half the deals we do, if not more, is it came later. We didn't get it right there. We didn't get the contract right there on the spot. It came later. They thought about it. Maybe they did shop it around. They found that maybe we might not have been the best offer. We might have just been the easiest offer. And they knew that we had the money, the proof of funds letter, and all that. And they knew that we were going to close on it. We were going to do it quick. And maybe we just sold ourselves. And they want to go with us. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. Follow up. Make sure you're calling these people once or twice a week, every single week, until you have an answer. And then just a few more nuggets. An effective negotiator, you got to build a relationship first. Okay, keep that in mind. Build a relationship. That's why we don't like to make offers on the phone. We like to make them in person so we can build that relationship. You're in sales. It's a sales gig. An effective negotiator understands the needs of both parties. Okay, you're going to understand. I often ask the question, what do you need? What do you need to make this deal work? And that's how I can typically draw numbers out of them, get them to bid against themselves. So I want to understand what they need, and I try to do my best to make that happen. An effective negotiator knows and understands the market and what things are worth. It's going back to knowing the numbers and knowing your market, okay? And then finally, an effective negotiator can sense motivation and desperation. It's very, very important. You've got to know the right questions to ask to get to draw the motivation out of them. And a lot of times you can sense the desperation. You can sense when you have somebody on their heels, and you can really get a house for a lot cheaper than just somebody out there who, hey, yeah, it's a good deal at $50,000, but it'd be a better deal at 40. You'd make a lot more at 40 or at 30. So it's the difference between making $3,000 or $4,000 on wholesale and making $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000 on a wholesale deal. So keep those in mind. Hopefully I gave you some good information to hear about negotiating. One of my favorite things in real estate is to negotiate. So hopefully you got some good stuff out of this video. And then stay tuned for part 8. We're going to talk about part 8 here pretty soon on the next video. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment box. I'd love to help you answer them if I can. Thanks.